Asato ma sadgamaya tamaso ma jyotirgamaya mrityurma amritam gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om, lead us from the unreal to the real, lead us from darkness to light, lead us from death to immortality. Om, peace, peace, peace. Namaste, good morning and welcome everybody. Happy Father's Day. Yes, so we are gathered here for our Ask Swami session, where we curate questions from all over the world which come through the internet, and also we take some questions from the live audience present here. So Diane has some questions today for us.
Good morning, Swamiji, and good morning, everybody. Subra from Chicago asks, according to Vedanta, Brahman alone is. Everything else is just an appearance. It is also stated as our lived reality being an illusion, and at the level of Brahman, just being a dream. How can Vedanta, which has been conceived in this dream itself, be taken seriously if, just like the dream, the knowledge has come out of nowhere, meaning it has no source? Vedas are said to be the proofs, but even those are realizations of the rishis. These realizations are yet again happening in the dream itself to the characters of the dream. While it is understandable that these can be considered knowledge at the transactional level by the characters of the dream, at the level of Brahman, a dreamt knowledge or an apparent knowledge. I get the difference in the level of realities. This makes me think that there is no knowledge to be had. Knowing or not knowing are part of the dream, and it is very likely that when the dream ends, the knowledge / realization of the dreamer could be vastly different than what the transactional dream character is assuming it to be. Could you please share your views on this?
We are starting off on a steep curve. Yes. What I noted, the words that Vedanta holds our lived reality to be a dream or an illusion. No. Stop right there. Our lived reality, notice the words there, our lived reality. Vedanta does not hold it to be an illusion. In fact, Vedanta says that's the place where you look for reality. Vedanta is not about constructing an elaborate philosophical structure. If you do that, at one point, confusion will come. At one point, confusion will come, everything will become very abstract and not very real, and then you begin to doubt the whole thing. It doesn't seem very possible at all. Then what it leads to a skepticism. I noticed what he said, that I doubt the possibility of knowledge itself. This is called skepticism. Then you begin to doubt whether you can know anything at all. Or our life is a dream, religion is a dream, science is a dream, everything is a dream. No, not like that. Vedanta proceeds by sticking close to our lived reality. The word which he used is lived reality, yes. Stick to that. Americans have a phrase, keep it real. And it works very well with Vedanta. If you want Vedanta to be more than a philosophy, like a clever philosophy, something more than that, a living philosophy, then keep it real. Always stick to reality. The remarkable claim that Vedanta makes is that we are talking about this reality itself. We are not talking about some kind of fancy metaphysics. I was in a conference a few weeks ago at Stony Brook. A professor of philosophy from Brazil, Dilip Luondo, originally from India but now settled in Brazil, but is a professor of Vedanta and Buddhism, especially Tibetan Buddhism. And he made a very nice observation. He said, Vedanta is about an extraordinary clarification of our ordinary reality. And I loved that phrase, an extraordinary clarification of our ordinary reality. A scientist from Vienna sent me a quote from Schrödinger, where Schrödinger says, our goal is not to see new things, but to think what nobody has ever thought before about what everybody sees every day. He, of course, was talking about quantum theory, but it applies very much to Vedanta. So Vedanta is about this life. See, what is it that we do not doubt? We may doubt abstract philosophies like Vedanta or anything else, but what is it that we do not doubt? Nobody doubts it. Our lived reality. That we are sitting here, we would not seriously doubt it, unless you are a philosopher. Then you start doubting all this. But otherwise, you don't seriously doubt this. We are sitting here, we are seeing, hearing, we are breathing. I have a sense of my physical existence. So this nobody doubts. Vedanta says, investigate this. Take a look at this. What is there to realize about this? Here, Vedanta says, see, lived reality. Vedanta says here is a mixture of the real and the false. It is not all a dream. There is reality here and an appearance here, and both are mixed up and presented to us. And Vedanta is about discerning, separating the real from the appearance in our understanding, and always rooted in our experience. The way Vedanta proceeds is this. Vedanta says, so I am looking at the flower. And I have no doubt about it. I'm looking at a flower. Vedanta says, notice you said you are looking at a flower. You are seeing a flower. What is this you which is seeing the flower? Usually our interest is in the object, in the flower. Is it nice? Is it bad? Do I want it? I want to learn more about it? I want to do science with it, or I want to decorate the altar with it. All of this is our concern with the flower. But Vedanta says, what about the one who's apprehending, experiencing the flower? Take a look at yourselves, at the very structure of lived experience, lived reality. I am seeing the flower. This seeing the flower, you are aware, conscious of the flower. Yes, through your eyes and your mind. But that consciousness itself, notice that is there when I am conscious of this flower, and when I'm experiencing that white flower in front. The flowers are very different, but the consciousness is exactly the same. Again, lived reality. Nothing theoretical here. Proceed with this. Dismiss from the mind that it's all a dream, and then there's something separate called Brahman, and Brahman is the only thing that there is, and whatever we experience in life is all a dream. You have made a very sharp distinction between the real and the false. And not only that, what you have done is, we have situated ourselves in the false and divorced the reality from this and said reality somewhere else, this is all false, and then now what do? We are all helpless now. Vedanta is also part of this falsity. No, remember, falsity, appearance, always has to be grounded in reality. Appearance cannot exist by itself. The illusory snake cannot float in the air. It has to be the rope which is misapprehended, mistaken for a snake. So if you are making a mistake, if Vedanta claims we are making a mistake, we do not know what we are experiencing, then the truth must be here itself. Mistake cannot exist by itself. Look at the words, mistake. To take something other than what it is. That's called a mistake. So the real rope is right there where we are seeing the snake by mistake. Where I'm experiencing life, I'm looking at this flower and that flower. Then I notice, Vedanta says, notice the same consciousness is experiencing this flower and that flower. The flower changed. This is yellow, that is white. Different properties, different objects. My experience changed. But the consciousness which experiences them did not change. There is the same consciousness which experiences all seeing, all hearing, all smelling, all tasting, all touch. It experiences all thought, all memories, all desires, all pleasure and pain, all of them are being experienced right now by that one consciousness, which is very obvious. How is it obvious? This consciousness we are talking about? It's obvious like when I see the flower, one thing that happens is that I not only see that there is a flower here, I become very aware that I have eyes. Whatever I see reveals that object which I am seeing, but also it reveals to me I have eyes. It's obvious. But it's curious that I don't see my eyes. You cannot. And yet I know for sure, I may be mistaken about the flower. Maybe my eyes are not working well. I don't know what that is. But my eyes are there and I'm seeing something that I can never be mistaken about. Although I don't see my eyes. Exactly in the same way, consciousness by itself, bare consciousness, is not an object that you can see. And yet, that you can see or hear or smell or taste or touch. And yet all sensory activities, all thoughts, all memories, all our enjoyment and our suffering, everything reveals to us consciousness, consciousness, consciousness. At the very core of our being. And that is the first step of Vedanta. And notice, lived reality. Right here, right now. Then why is Vedanta saying that it's an illusion or a dream or an appearance? Because this is not how we understand ourselves. Usually how we understand ourselves is, I am this person, this body, this bundle of thoughts and feelings and emotions, and I'm experiencing a separate world apart from me and other people apart. This is our usual way of looking at it. This Vedanta says is a mistake. What's real, what's right, what's correct? Correct is that you are consciousness with a layer of a mind and a sensory system and a body and experiencing objects. And all of it is happening in consciousness. So Vedanta is correcting our view of what? Of our already available experience, of our lived reality. At no point are we deviating even an inch from the lived reality. Unlike all other systems, if I say God exists in heaven, and then how do I know? Believe. That's divorced from our lived reality. But we have to believe. And you bring it into our lived reality through faith, through devotion, through prayer. You make a connection. Or you might say, no, don't believe. Sit in meditation and you will have these extraordinary experiences which will become your lived reality at some point. But not right now. There are devotional ways. There are mystical ways. Those also work. But they are still one step beyond our lived reality right now. Vedanta is entirely lived reality. Entirely lived reality. Now, he is not wrong that Vedanta cannot grasp that ultimate truth being born in this. It's also in this state. But what Vedanta is supposed to do is not to grasp that ultimate truth, not to grasp Atman or Brahman. It is just meant to correct our error. You are already Atman. It will become clear to you by itself. Atman will reveal itself. Brahman will reveal. It is already revealing itself. Is consciousness not shining right now? Are we not consciousness right now? So we are consciousness right now. Consciousness is shining right now. That's why we are able to have all these experiences, even without any Vedanta. What does Vedanta do? In the words of that professor, it's an extraordinary clarification of our lived reality. It's an extraordinary clarification of our ordinary reality, of our day-to-day reality. So, so 2 points I've made here. Never ever think that Vedanta is some extremely subtle, complicated and improbable philosophy, some metaphysics. It can be, but at its heart it's not that. It's very much real. That's the beauty of it. If you miss it, if you miss that point, if we do not get that point, then other paths are open to us. Other paths are open to us, but those are the scenic route. They will take you around quite a bit and then bring you back to the same point. They'll ultimately come to the same point. Why waste time? Why not go directly to the truth? Sri Ramakrishna would insist that you start with this non-dual truth. He would say in Bengali, Vedanto Advaita Gyan Achole Vede Jaichya Tai Karo. Tie the knowledge of non-duality to the hem of your cloth and then do whatever you like. Women in India traditionally earlier, they used to tie the keys of the household to the sari, the hem of the sari, and they would go about their business in the household. Like that, Sri Ramakrishna says, you tie the knowledge of this non-duality to the hem of your cloth. That means base your life upon it. Then if you're devotional, be devotional. If you're yogic, mystic, be mystical. If you're active, dynamics, a service, life of service, do that, or a combination of any of those. Fine, wonderful. Be philosophical, be meditative, be dynamic, full of service and compassion and activity in life. So, always grounded in lived reality. It's real. It's not speculative philosophy. It's not an academic exercise. You can make an academic, it's very exciting as a philosophy also, but it's not meant to be at its heart. Don't make this divorce. This is a gross and dangerous misunderstanding of Vedanta. Vedanta says it's all false, it's all an illusion. And then we place ourselves, our whole world and ourselves in that illusion. Now we are helpless. No, Vedanta also says that you are Brahman, you are Sat, you are Chit, you are Ananda itself. And the whole of the world is an appearance in you. In that sense only it's an appearance. Appearance is always grounded in reality. In Sanskrit there is a phrase, Niradhara Brahma Navayamangi Kurmaha. We do not accept error without ground. That there is only, it's all error and there is no ground to that error. It's only an illusory snake. What about the rope? No rope. Just a snake floating around. No. If there is a forgery, a forged currency, it means there is some real currency. Not that all of it is forgery. If it's a lie, there must be truth. Otherwise, how is something a lie? Yeah.
This question is from Daniel Brown. My question is in regards to vrittis and God. Are there times that vrittis are feasibly directions and guidance from God, Ishvara, and are not simply reinforcing Maya or separation from Brahman?
Vrittis are movements of the mind. Thoughts, ideas, memories, desires are movements of the mind. So Daniel is asking, is it that sometimes these vrittis are directions, the thoughts which come up in my mind are directions from God, from Ishvara, from the Lord, not just born of my previous conditioning and reinforcing patterns of behavior? It's a dangerous way of thinking. Better not think that way. What we want, what Daniel wants, is some kind of divine guidance. The divine guidance is most explicitly available to us in the Gita, in the Upanishads. Sri Krishna, what is Gita? Sri Krishna is saying, is giving us the as instructions. How much instruction do you want? 18 chapters, 700 verses. Yeah. And there are so many Upanishads. The whole of Gita, Ma Manusmara Yudhyacha. We must pay attention to what God is saying, not attention to what my mind is saying. If I do that, once or twice a good thought may come in the mind. I think, wow, here is an instruction from God. Follow it. Next, the mind will take you straight down. In Bengali, they say Roshatale, in the lowest hell. It will take you down. Never trust the mind by itself. If the mind were enough to take us to enlightenment, everyone would have become enlightened by now. We are born with ignorance, a primal ignorance of our real nature. And to get knowledge, you need to go to school, to Vedanta, to the teachings, to the pointing out of the Upanishads, the Gita. The teachings of the Gita, Ma Manuspara Yudhyacha, Krishna says, keep me in mind and fight the battle of life. So keep your mind on God and fight the battle of life. This is an instruction. Whether my mind has given this thought or not doesn't matter. It's clearly there in the Gita. And it's a philosophy of life. Be centered in God and fight the battle of life. Look at the scriptures of the world. Same thing. In the New Testament, Jesus is saying the two most important commandments. Love the Lord thy God with all thy heart and all thy might, one, and love thy neighbor. Clearly it is said there. In the Quran, in the teachings of the Buddha, in every religion, every spiritual text, in all the great traditions of the world, endless instructions and teachings are given. Knock yourself out. Which one do you want? Take up one and follow it clearly. No, I will just listen to the whisperings of this crook inside my skull. No. They are not promptings from Ishvara. They are born, as you said, from my own samskaras, my previous conditioning of the mind. There is a quote I like in the Yoga Sutra commentary of Vyasa Bhashya. There is a quote, vrittis evam vritti samskara chakram avartamanam aharnishi. This cycle of vrittis and samskaras is rotating day and night. From our previous conditionings, whisperings are bubbling up in the mind. Thoughts, ideas, desires, impulses, they're bubbling up. Where are they coming from? Not from nothing. They're all coming from previous conditionings. Causes leading to effects. And whatever dwells in the surface of our minds for some time, again sinks back into the subsoil of our mind, into the vasana system in the mind, and gets reinforced. As he has just written, is it from, he said Maya, but basically it's the vasana system, generating. And it says, thus the cycle of vasanas coming up as vrittis, previous conditionings coming up as movements of the mind, and then staying on the surface of the mind and prompting us to do this or that, and then sinking back into the vasanas and strengthening old good or bad patterns. That's what those whisperings are. Don't take them as promptings from God. That way lies certain ruin and even possibly madness. Now, what he's saying is also not entirely wrong. In the case of genuine sadhakas who have spiritual practitioners advanced, with that also we know, at one point the mind itself becomes your guru. But that's a very advanced state. And there also, when the mind becomes your guru, after a long period of sadhana, the mind itself tells you what is right and wrong and shows you the way and gives you all genuine, good, noble promptings. But that comes much later. And there also it will not contradict the scriptures. It will never be weird or against the scripture. It may be, you will see it matches. It's in accordance with the general principles of spirituality and ethics. All right, somebody from the gentleman there, please come up here. Yes, please come. And tell us your name and ask the question. Tell us where you have come from.
Pranam Maharaj.
Sit.
So my name is Gopal. I am your disciple. I've been following you from past 5 years. I just wanted to give some background. Just 2 minutes. It's between the year of 2021. I lost my parents, and I was in grief, and life was very difficult for me to live with my parents, my wife and kids. Lot of problems. So that's where my friend introduced one of the videos. I started following, and I've been following from past many years. I've completed many of the Bhagavad Gita, 175 videos, everything. So today I'm here only for 2 things. As I'm a disciple, I understood completely Bhagavad Gita, whatever you thought, and understand, and also I feel that this is just a body and mind. We have to utilize it and do the karma yoga along with bhakti yoga and jnana yoga. So as part of karma yoga, I have this question. I set goals with sincere intentions, but my struggle is with consistent action. Some days I am fully productive, other days I delay, drift and miss opportunities. Then comes regret. I'm not utilizing the time and energy and feeling the waste of time and energy, and this cycle repeats. And being in samsara with family. Sometimes some priorities comes up. Again, I drift there, again come back. And again I sit silently, and when I'm meditating, lot of things comes to my mind. This should do.
Understand.
How do I break this pattern
Yes.
and act steadiness and consistently, so that
Yes.
karma yoga becomes a true sadhana leading to God realization in this life?
Yes. Have one life. Have one life, not two lives. It's like I have a spiritual life, my goal is God realization, and yet you say I have a family, a wife and kids and job, and so those commitments are there, as if there are these two things which I have to do now. If I divorce my so-called secular life from my spiritual life, then I'll be leading two lives. If I lead two lives, both will suffer. What will happen is, my secular life, divorced from spirituality, oh, it is just family and spouse and kids and job and boss and paperwork and insurance and stuff like that, and it will all seem like a burden and it will all seem meaningless. My day-to-day life divorced from spirituality will seem meaningless. And spirituality divorced from my day-to-day life, there will be no time and energy left over for spiritual practice. As you say, that I drift away. Because why do we drift away? The gravity of our worldly life, because it's so powerful, it's such a big planet, and spiritual life is a shining comet flying away in a distance. There is no match. So have one life. And karma yoga, as you have noticed, that is the place where most obviously these two will meet. Spiritual life and my so-called secular life. Don't have two lives, have only spiritual life. By that, karma yoga. The karma yoga is also spirituality. It's my spirituality is where I'm holding on to God, but in my job, not just in my meditation room. In taking care of the family, of children, bringing up of the children, in my household work, in my office work, whatever work that I'm doing, all of that is the worship of the same Lord. Just as I try to do japa, just as I try to do Vedanta study and Gita study, in the same way I'm trying to do the assignments in the office and teaching the kids, whatever it is, everything is being done as a worship of the same Lord. I have only one life. Tell yourself that. So when that becomes steady, then my sadhana also will become steady. Then I will not feel that I'm taking away time and energy from my meditation and doing this work which have to be done anyway. What can I do? It's a burden. Somehow I'm doing it. And then when time comes from meditation, I have no energy left. I'm exhausted. No, one life. So this itself, you will see everything will slowly fall in place. As we go through life, notice whatever I am doing is my spiritual practice. Then you will also notice there are a lot of other things, a lot of nonsense we engage in which cannot be spiritual practice and which we are not supposed to be doing, is not necessary also. We do them. You can save a lot of time and energy there, getting rid of that. Do what is necessary. Vivekananda gave the formula for karma yoga. Neither seek nor avoid. Neither seek nor avoid. Don't unnecessarily gather activities, engagements throughout the day, but don't avoid also. And dedicate the whole thing to the Lord, to Bhagavan, in whichever form you worship, and say, this is my worship. In the puja room, in the car when I'm driving, in the computer, working from home, whatever I'm doing, taking care of the family, everything is my worship. My whole life is centered around you, my Lord, in that way. Nothing else. Yes.
Bless me.
Yes, certainly. One to bless is sitting right there. The lady there, yes, please come. And then we'll go back to the internet questions. Periyashun, have it come. Tell us your name and where you've come from.
Namaskar Maharaj, my name is Balari Gupta. I'm here from New Jersey. There's a lot of uncertainty in the world, so my question is about peace in the face of prolonged uncertainty. Many spiritual teachings encourage detachment from outcomes. But what about situations involving basic human needs, such as income, security, companionship, or support? How does one remain peaceful when one is sincerely making effort, fulfilling one's responsibilities, and taking action, yet the expected results do not seem to arrive? At what point does concern become attachment? And how can we trust life when the relationship between effort and outcome appears uncertain?
Yes. In times of certainty, and especially in times of uncertainty, hold on to that which is truly and completely forever, everywhere certain. Sri Ramakrishna would say that children go round and round, they hold on to a pillar and swing round and round, and they enjoy, they shout in delight. But they are very careful not to let go of that pillar, because they know if they let go, they'll fall and they'll get hurt. Similarly, the pillar in our lives is God, in whichever form you are practicing. It could be self-knowledge, it could be devotional practice, and it should be a particular practice which you can hold on to like a pillar. Going round and round is the life that you are leading. Your family life, your professional life, personal life, all of that. The thing is, why it seems uncertain is because we are holding on to the world, which is uncertain. That's why we are pervaded by anxiety and by frustration, because we are looking at the world for results. Results will come. We're almost certainly they will not be up to our expectations. Sometimes they will be up to our expectations, sometimes even more than we expect, often. Then we don't complain. Usually we complain when it falls far short of our expectations. Know for certain the results we come, broadly speaking, are generated by our past karma. We will get what we deserve. I remember a funny story. In the high Himalayas, so the monks, once in a while there is a feast, and it's like the monastic lotus wine, what is called grapevine, so there's lotus wine. It's in those days, of course, only through word of mouth. There's a feast there, so the monks will gather. One day there was a feast. I too went there. Then afterwards, in the evening, there was a class. We were studying Ashtavakra with a sadhu. So the sadhu who was teaching us, an old Swami, and we other monks, we gathered at his feet. Very spectacular scenery, towering mountains all around, Deodar forests, the Ganga flowing by at our feet. And that sadhu asked us, "Kya khilaya? What did they feed you?" Because he had heard about the feast. And somebody said, "Malpua, this is a sweet. It's a very fried, quite unhealthy, very sweet, but very delicious sweet." "Kitna khaya? How many did you eat?" Someone said 1, someone said 2, someone said 3. And then the monk said, who was teaching us, he said, "Main to nahi gaya, I didn't go. But they sent it for me. They sent a box with the sweets for me. They know that he's a senior monk in this ashram. वो भेज दिया." And then he said, "जो इधर लिखा होता है ना महात्मा जी, आपके पास पहुंच जाएगा. उसके पीछे दौड़ने का जरूरत नहीं है. What is written here, it will come to you, even if you don't go. You don't have to chase it. It will come to you." He gave a nice example. There is a postal department, I don't know if it's still there, the old postal department. They would in those days they would deliver in postcards, like letters, but like one postcard. And the monks in the caves also would receive letters from the devotees from the plains of India. So the postman would hike up to the mountains and go to that particular cave and deliver the letter. So it's a very nice example. The monk said, where if it's addressed to you, even if you are in a cave at 10,000 feet in the mountains, it will come to you. I'm sure sometimes it doesn't come, but anyway, the example is taken. It will come to you. And the postal department of God does not fail. It's not the Indian Postal Service. The postal department of God does not fail. What is your karma phala will come to you. You don't have to chase it, nor can you run away from it. So let our attention be not on that. Let our attention be on the Lord. Saguna Brahman, Nirguna Brahman, on self-knowledge or on devotion to God. My attention be there. And you will find other things will fall in place. If my attention, if my whole connection, the Lord is the one who never disappoints. The world will always disappoint you. You will either not get what you want and you will be frustrated, or you will get what you want and you will be disappointed. But the Lord never disappoints. Let us give 100% attention there, and the world will continue. Your finances, your family, your profession, it will continue. And you will keep doing all that also. When Arjuna heard this advice, he said, good, then I just want to hold on to God, I don't want to fight the battle. Krishna said, you have to fight the battle. That's where you have been put. Remember, fighting the battle is for your spiritual evolution. It will help you in our spiritual life. Where will you practice spirituality? Except in the battlefield of life. You want to escape to the high Himalayas, you will find a battlefield there also. You want to escape from the politics of Kauravas and Pandavas in the Mahabharata, you will find politics between the ashrams in the Himalayas also. In a different way, you will find the same thing. Your karma will chase you there. The postal department of the Lord does not fail. So be where you are and reimagine it, reframe it, engage, and of course be intelligent. Suppose what I am doing is not working. It's not giving me the results which I expect. There is a definition of insanity. It's to keep doing the same thing and expecting different results. So the intelligent person will pursue the same thing maybe, but in a different way. See what works. What's working for others. Read about the lives of people who are successful in that field, in whatever, where I'm facing problems. Look at the people who are shining in that area, whose lives are going better. Are they doing anything different from what I'm doing? It won't be easy. You can make a change. Now suppose someone says, this is what I wanted to say, but one step down. Suppose someone says, I am not really interested in God realization, self-realization. My prime focus is on relationships, money, my life, my health, and things in the world. What can you tell me then? Well, one thing I can tell you then, all of it is powered by our karma. So if you want our day-to-day life to go better, then do a lot of good karma. Just be up and doing. In some time or the other, results will come. Good karma means try to be of help to others, try to give, try to be compassionate, try to sacrifice for others, and not expecting results there. The results will come because of the good karma that we are generating. It will start coming. You'll find life will get better. You will get better. That's definitely true. Yes, thank you. We'll come to you later. Take a question from there.
This question is from Praveen Ratan. Pranam Swamiji. By definition, consciousness has no boundaries. It is not limited by bounds of space and time. Our minds, on the other hand, are limited. My question is it possible for the limited to grasp and understand the unlimited? If not, then what use is the path of knowledge? Why do we seek to understand something which by definition cannot be understood? There are times when I think I understand what is meant when you speak of consciousness, and then there are many more when I am totally confused. I get what is meant when it's said, I am not this body which has consciousness, but I am the consciousness in which the body-mind is experienced. But doesn't consciousness itself need the medium of the body-mind for the body-mind me to be even aware of its existence? And as consciousness is sometimes compared to a screen on which all thoughts, emotions, sensations appear, doesn't it make the screen, in parentheses consciousness, very bland, very lifeless, which gets its meaning only through the body-mind complex?
Number of questions there. So consciousness is not something, the real nature of consciousness, Atman or Brahman, is not something that can be grasped by the mind. So what's the use of doing Vedanta, which is something definitely we are doing at the level of the mind and the intellect? What's the use? See, this question would apply if there was something, some X, which I want to understand. And then I'm told the mind cannot understand that X. It is unknowable by me. I can't understand it. Then there's no good. But it's not some X which we are trying to understand. This consciousness is you. It is you. Vedanta is not talking about something which is known or unknown. Kenopanishad says, Anya deva tad viditad atho aviditad adhi. Whatever you know about, yes, that's not the reality that Vedanta. It's not Atman or Brahman. Oh, okay, so it's unknown. No, whatever is unknown to you, even that is not Atman. Atman, the self, the real nature of the self, is not something that is known to you, not something that is unknown to you. But then what could be other than the known and the unknown? Only one thing, the knower, you. So this consciousness is not, what we are talking about is not something we are trying to understand with the help of the mind, and then we are told you can't understand with the mind, then we are helpless. No. It is you, which the mind cannot grasp, but you yourself are evident to yourself. You see, then how will we know it? Then, quote unquote, it's not known by the mind. It cannot be seen by the eyes. It can't be heard by the ears. Can't be tasted by the tongue. Can't be smelled by the nose. Can't be touched, So the senses cannot objectify Atman. The mind cannot think about it. The intellect cannot analyze it. True. But all of these are continuously being lit up by that one self-same consciousness which you are. It is entirely obvious to itself, and that is what is illumining all our senses. In fact, though the mind and the senses and the intellect cannot objectify the Atman, it is the Atman alone which illumines all of them. And in the activities of all of them, the Atman is being revealed. Again, the example I gave of the eyes seeing the flower. Now the eyes, I see this flower, I see that flower, I see all of you. The eyes are revealing all of you. But the eyes cannot see themselves. They cannot turn around and look at themselves. But they don't need to. They don't need to. In the very act of seeing you, that I have eyes becomes clear to me. In the very act of living, in the very act of knowing, in the very act of experiencing anything in the world, the fact that we are consciousness becomes clear to us. It is continuously being revealed to us. That thing Vedanta points out. It's an open secret. We never think about it that way. We are engrossed in the objects revealed by consciousness. We never think about consciousness itself. So consciousness does not really need the mind or nor can the mind and the intellect objectify consciousness, nor do you need it. Then what does Vedanta do? Because Vedanta works at the level of the mind and intellect. So what does Vedanta do? What does any spiritual practice do? The understanding in Vedanta, Advaita Vedanta, about the nature of spiritual practice is that it is negative. Negative. It removes the obstacles to the self-shining nature of consciousness. There are many obstacles. The primal obstacle is we don't know what it is. We are ignorant of it. It is hidden in plain sight. Our tendency is always to look outside, to see, hear, smell, taste, touch, and to think about, imagine, like, dislike, whatever we are seeing or hearing in the world. And that's what we are busy with all day and night. But this entire experience is continuously, unceasingly being lit up by one light. That we are not interested in. That's what Vedanta is pointing out. And once it is pointed out, the intellectual part of it, what the intellect can do is remove the obstacles at the level of the intellect. It's like the cloud which is obscuring the sun. And a gust of wind comes and blows away the cloud. Now the gust of wind cannot catch hold of the sun. But the sun is revealed all the same because the sun is self-shining. It's blazing forth with tremendous light. It is just obscured by the cloud. At the level of the cloud, which is in the atmosphere, all we need is a gust of wind in the same level of the atmosphere, which will remove that cloud. The ignorance and the confusion at the level of the intellect is removed by knowledge, by the Vedantic knowledge. That the intellect can do. Intellect can generate knowledge. That's it. That's the purpose of intellect. Vedanta, it will process Vedanta and it will generate what is called Brahmakara vritti. A vritti, a movement in the mind of the form, I am Brahman. Then what will happen? Will the intellect then grasp I am Brahman? No. I am Brahman, Brahman is shining forth, that will become clear to me. We'll say Brahman will reveal itself. Well, even that you cannot say, we need not say, Brahman is always revealing itself. that becomes obvious to us and forever. This is the very interesting idea about sadhana in spiritual life, in Advaita Vedanta. But this is not the only level of sadhana, generating knowledge through Advaita, through Vedanta, and then removing ignorance. There are other obstructions. There is the restlessness of the mind. If one does not attempt to meditate seriously, one will not even be aware of this problem. The fact that I am Brahman, I am not aware of it, this was not something that we even thought about before we read Vedanta. And before we start meditating, we will not even realize what a terrible condition our minds are in. Terrible. Sit straight for 1 hour and repeat the mantra, you'll find it so difficult. It's like burning up. Why? It's because of the terrible state of the mind. Sometimes it works, most of the time it doesn't. Mind is restless. So, the lot of work has to be done at the level of the mind. Then our conditionings, our patterns of behavior, which are generated by our vasanas, the negativities, the desires, the guilt, the complexes, the unresolved anger, unhappiness, a lot of misery and darkness is there in our minds. Freud was a pretty clever cookie, you know. He identified all that. He looked at the basement of the human personality and saw the junk that we have accumulated there. So some amount of clearing has to be done there, cleansing. Some amount of, I don't say we have to become perfect yogist, absolutely focused in samadhi all the time, extremely difficult, not even necessary, but clarity, a purity of the mind and a steadiness, intense stillness and focus of the mind, very necessary. Then only the Vedantic inquiry will take hold. In Himalayas, the sadhus use language like this. Pachta nahi Mahatma ji, it's not assimilated. You're eating all this stuff, but you're not digesting it. Baithta nahi Mahatma ji, it doesn't fit well with you, this knowledge. It must sit well, must fit in with a seat belt, click, like that. Otherwise it will be a struggle. Now, what was the last 2 sentences in this question?
And as consciousness is sometimes compared to a screen on which all thoughts, emotions, sensations appear, doesn't it make the screen, in parenthesis, consciousness, very bland, very lifeless, which gets its meaning only through the body-mind complex?
So actually, I remember before that he had asked one more thing. So 2 points he has raised here at the end of the question. One was that doesn't consciousness need the body-mind in that case? Without the thoughts in the mind, consciousness is not obvious. This is subtle, the 2-part answer. This is a subtle point here. First part of the answer is, your point is well taken. In that case, this is Sankhya philosophy. Purusha and Prakriti. Consciousness needs material nature, and material nature needs consciousness. In Sankhya philosophy, this imagery is used of a lame man and a blind man. Together they can go on a journey. The blind man cannot see where he is going, and the lame person cannot walk. But then the blind man takes the lame person on his shoulders, and he tells the blind person where to go, left, right, and go this way. So one of them is seeing, the other one is walking, and together they can make the journey. Similarly, consciousness by itself cannot and does not do anything at all. It illumines, it's the witness. Material nature does everything but can't experience anything at all. But the two together give us the experience of the jiva, us, each of us. Each of us is the two together, consciousness plus material nature. You see, what's the problem? The problem is we do not know that we are pure consciousness. What Sankhya does is, it introduces us to the discernment, the separation in our understanding of that I am pure consciousness. Not body, not prana, not mind, not intellect, not even the darkness of deep sleep, the anandamaya, the causal body. I am not the physical body, subtle body, causal body. Dehatraya vyatirikta atma. Separate, I am consciousness. As consciousness, I have no problem. And as consciousness, I use all this equipment provided to me by Mother Nature, Prakriti, and go about my life. Then you will be perfectly fine. If this Sankhyan discernment called Viveka is done. If it's not done, then what happens? Consciousness thinks of itself as body. And so, I am old. Consciousness thinks of itself as prana. I am sick and tired. Consciousness feels that I am the mind. Does not even distinguish at all. Naturally takes itself to be the movements of the mind. I am so depressed. The one who has done the discernment, the Sankhyan discernment, I am the witness of the body. Yes, the body is getting old. I am Purana, ancient and new. Always new, though ancient, Purana. That is in the nature of consciousness, Shashvata, eternal. I don't get old. How will consciousness get wrinkles? Will consciousness get grey hair? No. Only fathers get it. Father's Day. No. Does consciousness get overweight? No. Consciousness also does not get depressed or unhappy or restless. No, that's the mind. Okay. Now this is the Sankhyan discernment. Advaita Vedanta goes one step forward and says, but Maya and all its products, including intellect, mind, body, senses, prana, universe, they are all nothing but Brahman appearing through Maya. So you consciousness, you the consciousness, you are appearing to yourself as the world of the five, sound, smell, taste, touch and all of that, the senses, the body, the prana, the mind, they are all nothing but essentially, they are consciousness, it's you yourself. So it's not that there is a material nature separate from you upon which you are depending. No, it's your nature. You're not depending upon a second external entity. There's only one reality. Brahman, Maya, that is one reality. Sri Ramakrishna would say, Brahma Shakti Abhed. Shakti and Brahman are indistinguishable. They are one reality. Indivisible. So then you can't say that Brahman is dependent on Shakti. Not dependent, they are one. Shakti belongs to Brahman. Shakti and Brahman are one reality. So they are not dependent, they are one reality. Then the second question, the second part he asked was the movie and screen example. Wouldn't the screen be very boring without a movie? Of course. Yeah. But remember, here reality, in the case of Brahman, reality is given to this world of appearances by Brahman, just like reality is given to the movie by the screen. But further, we have to leave the movie screen example behind. Not only reality, what does Brahman give to this world? Not only reality, it also gives consciousness, light, revelation. It is Chit. The world would be dark without, not only non-existent, would also be dark. Existent maybe, but would be dark. No experience would be possible without Brahman, because Brahman is consciousness. But further, Brahman is Ananda. All meaning is given to this world because of Brahman. Meaning, purpose, value, beauty, goodness, everything comes from Ananda. So it's not that the screen is making the movie is making the screen worthwhile and exciting. Without the movie, the screen will be boring. Yes, in the screen and movie example, true. But for Brahman and the world, it's not that the world is deriving value from Brahman. The Brahman is deriving meaning and value from the world. No. The world, this world of appearances, this body, all of them, or this body, mind and the world, they derive existence from Brahman, they derive consciousness from Brahman, experience, and they derive value, meaning, purpose, beauty, goodness from Brahman, from Sat, Chit, Ananda. That's the meaning of Satchidananda. Yes. All right. Please come. Then we'll go to the gentleman there.
Pranam Maharaj. Name is Sangeeta. 21st June 2026. As I walked in today, two stark contrasting realities of the world occurred to me, and I seek your counsel in illuminating the two. on one side, the last decade has seen profound religious wars and state-on-state conflicts and devastating civil wars. While a lot of the wars are intertwined with different political goals and other reasons, the role of ideology in that is well documented and cannot be denied. In this very world, on the other side, in this very last decade, another milestone occurred. Ramakrishna Mission and Mutt finished 125 years of their foundation and phenomenal work, which pure data shows that it has successfully managed to uphold under its umbrella both monastic and non-monastic members of various religions, various ethnicities, and various age groups. What is the lesson that organizations that are struggling with conflict today, what are the lessons that the organizations which are struggling with conflict today that can be learned from the success of Ramakrishna Mutt and Mission? And what is it that this warrior Hindu monk, Swami Vivekananda, infused at the very foundation that it carries on in face of a world that is divided, unifying everyone that is under it? Thank you.
It's a good question. It's 120 years actually. We're going to start the 120th year of the foundation of the Ramakrishna order, of the Ramakrishna mission. Yes, you're right. The world has always been like this. And the religions also have always been like this. Religions, ideologies and religions are ancient beasts, and they gather all kinds of problems through the centuries. We may think we are in the 21st century, but we have not outrun religion. In late 19th century, we talked about religion being dead, God being dead. Nietzsche, premature announcement of the death of God. God is very much alive. In fact, it's the secular philosophies which rise and fall and disappear very fast. These religions, they don't disappear and they don't go away, and they do create problems. The reason being, there is an eternal source of life in these religions. They are connected to something transcendent. All the major religious traditions of the world, they are rooted in the transcendent. They are rooted in the divine. That's why they will not die. At one time, it's not that religions don't die, they pass away. There are ancient religions. If you go to Central Park, you will find the needle, Cleopatra's needle, huge obelisk, which is more than 3,000 years old, actually 1,000 years older than Cleopatra. And if you see there inscriptions to the glory of Ra, Amun, Ra, Amun. Nobody worships Ra now. They're gone. And yet, it's not that religion has disappeared. These are newer and newer forms of one transcendent ideology, what we call Sanatana, eternal. Sri Ramakrishna said, all these forms will come and go away. These different sects will rise and disappear. Only the Sanatana Dharma will remain. So in general, in particular he meant the Hindu religion, but in general he meant this eternal spiritual connection between humanity and divinity. Different forms of religion will rise. And now, because religion is a two-sided creature, on one side it is rooted in divinity, on the other side it's very much rooted in our human nature, in our psychology, in our society, in our economics, in our politics. So it can give rise to all sorts of problems. There is great power and grace in spirituality, in religion, in the core of religion, and there are also dangers in it. Anything powerful is also dangerous. What Vivekananda did, what Sri Ramakrishna and then Vivekananda as the voice of Sri Ramakrishna, is what has happened in Hinduism again and again, which explains the longevity of Hinduism, is that it has renewed itself. Because I call it the world's largest disorganized religion. Not organized religion, disorganized religion. But the disorganized nature of Hinduism, the spread out nature, the decentralized nature of Hinduism is one source of its strength. That's not codified into an absolutely strict formal institution. Formal institutions can come up, like this, for example. They will also disappear and pass away in time. The foundation continues. The central teachings, the power, the grace, it continues. So what Sri Ramakrishna did, and our other avatars have done, they rescue the core spiritual values of this tradition. And they bring it to the forefront. And they also add something new to it. Each avatar adds new energy and new dimensions to Sanatana Dharma, brings it out, makes it more beautiful, more glorious. So in this day and age, Sri Ramakrishna, Vivekananda, if you think what he did for Hinduism, for India and for the world, as time goes by, we are wonderstruck. I have no doubt that in centuries to come, when people look back upon the 19th and the 20th centuries, historians will note Vivekananda as the central figure, defining figure of that time, whose influence is felt down the centuries. I was just reflecting that there were many great people in 19th century India and early 20th century India. As the centuries go by, Vivekananda was one of them, one of the early ones, but one of them. But as the centuries, decades and centuries roll by, all those other figures will diminish and fade and go back into the pages of history books. Vivekananda alone will stand taller and taller as the centuries roll by. In a sense of a living master, where millions and millions followed, derive inspiration and strength from him. Where does that strength and inspiration come from? It comes from the same source, the Upanishads, the Bhagavad Gita, Vedanta, the Jnana tradition, Bhakti tradition, the Tantric tradition, all sorts of traditions in India. Vivekananda called Sri Ramakrishna the embodiment of 5,000 years of development of Indian spirituality. Sister Nivedita said, when Vivekananda stood up to speak on 11th September, again 9/11, how incredible, in 1893 in Chicago, and speaking about harmony of religions. He spoke about the dangers of religious violence on 9/11, 1893, and the importance of religious toleration, acceptance and harmony. Nivedita writes, when he stood up to speak, Vivekananda stood up to speak, in front of him, remember it was the Columbian Exposition. It was a celebration of New America. There was Tesla there was Edison there was Hiram Maxim with his machine gun. Today if you do it, not Tesla, the car will be there, Elon Musk will be there on a platform. So someone like that. It was a celebration of the new world. So Sister Nivedita writes, in front of Vivekananda was the new world with all its energy and dynamism and power on display. And behind him was 5,000 years of patient development of spirituality. When Vivekananda stood up to speak, at that moment, these two worlds met. The East and the West met. And then she adds, not only the East and the West, the past and the future met. Vivekananda was not only embodying the past and speaking to 1893 Chicago, he was speaking to the future, to us also. And then he set into motion this machinery, which as you pointed out is 120 years old now. You need a teacher like this, you need the written works of Vivekananda like this, and then you need a machinery which will, an organization, which will embody and protect and propagate this down the centuries. And not by itself, it becomes a seed which will be copied and replicated. It becomes a new model for Hinduism. Let me tell you here, especially for Hindus, we regard ourselves as Hindus in the way Vivekananda understood Hinduism. Nivedita writes, when Vivekananda started, he was speaking about Hinduism, but when he finished, Hinduism had been regenerated, recreated, it had been created. Nivedita writes in the complete works of Vivekananda, in centuries to come, the Hindu mother who would teach the elements of her faith to her children will turn to these pages. The Hindu man who would verify the truths of his religion would turn to these pages. Modern Hinduism is what the way Vivekananda put it. We all think of Hinduism that way. If you try to see in some form or the other, one may not even understand, one may not even have read Vivekananda. But if you have been inspired by some spiritual teacher in the last 100 years or so, you will find some kind of direct or indirect connection to Ramakrishna Vivekananda. Definitely. There is a power coming through that. And it's the power of the eternal religion, of Sanatana Dharma, revived, revivified, rejuvenated for this age. But not only for Hindus, not only for India, for the whole world. That's why he came to the West and spoke here. And through America, it spreads across to the whole world. So here is an organization, monks and nuns. Vivekananda was specially insistent that first a mutt, a monastery for mother and her daughters, then for father and his sons. It so happened that the Ramakrishna Mutt for the monks started first because the conditions in India were very difficult. But now we have the Sharada Mutt also for monks and nuns, but again modern, fully engaged with society, upholding all the central values of ancient Indian Vedantic spirituality. Then also non-sectarian, so broad as to encompass Advaita Vedanta, but also the Bhakti schools, Vishishta Advaita, Dvaita, Dvaita Advaita, Achintya Bheda, with all the various schools, devotional schools of Hinduism. The vast meditative traditions, a great emphasis on meditation and samadhi. Revivifying. See, at that time, late 19th century, Hinduism was in a ferment. You had someone like Keshav Chandra say in Brahma Samaj, you had Dayanand Saraswati there in Arya Samaj, all trying to reform Hinduism by doing what? Remove these things are unnecessary. Image worship is bad. They're all looking up towards the British rulers, the English missionaries, Christian missionaries. Somewhat like that, can we make our religion more modern, looking through English eyes and seeing our society, what's wrong with our society, and then changing it and reforming it. Many things were necessary. Women's education, removal of the sati pratha, prevention of child marriage, and all of those things. Sri Ramakrishna comes along and he is Hindu, maximally Hindu, not minimally so. Yeah. He is as Hindu as you could be, as a Brahmin priest worshipping Kali, the most Hindu of deities. And Vivekananda says to Hindus at that time, who were all up, the great movement of you ban image worship, ban worship of this. He says if you can if image worship can produce one as Ramakrishna, worship 1,000 images, I say. And notice, if it was a genuine movement to ban image worship, it would have caught on, and today we would have gone past that. It was not. It was not. It was prompted by our colonial mindset. What was genuine? Those have been taken up. Child marriage is gone. Women have equal rights. I remember reading, what's his name? Joseph Campbell. He went to India in 1950 with Swami Nikhilanandaji, and he observes what India was at that time. One observation he writes there is, I do not see any women about, in public life. They're all at home. He went to Delhi, Calcutta, and Madras, and a number of important cities and small towns also, Bhubaneswar also in India at that time, 1950. But if he had gone to India today, he would have seen women engaged in every sphere of public life. So those things have changed, and for the better. That which was necessary to change has changed and is changing. We're all, if you go to India now, every 5 years you will see a new society with all the good and the bad, but a society in dynamic transformation. And those powers of transformation were released by all those reform movements at that time, but especially by Sri Ramakrishna, Vivekananda, Ma Sharada, and others. So that's what you see. A monastic organization, a Hindu monastic organization, and yet so non-sectarian, where Christmas is celebrated on Christmas in December in our main monastery, in the main temple. And I know that the number of Christians who come and attend Christmas in Belur Math, where we accept the truth of all religions And genuinely so, not just for a lecture in an interfaith conference. I know there are people who will make good speeches in interfaith conferences and go back and say just the opposite to their own congregations. We don't do that. What we are outside to the world, we are also inside within ourselves. We genuinely feel that. If disrespect shown to the revered figures and texts of other traditions is disrespect shown to our own tradition, because they are literally the same thing in different forms, names and forms. We genuinely feel as many faiths, so many paths to God realization. And we feel these are the universal values centered in Hinduism, all the way back to the founding of Hinduism. You see it's written there on the wall there, truth is one, the sages call it variously, from the Rig Veda. And this is a value which has been there throughout the history of Hinduism, in all our in various phases of Hindu history. It is an organization and a movement which is rooted in our ancient values and utterly modern. We are open to AI today, no problem. And yet centered in Vedantic values. Fully centered in ancient Indian values, but open to the world. Centered in Hinduism, but very cosmopolitan. Yeah. So this is, I can go on about this. This is, no, I'm not saying this just because I'm an insider, but I genuinely feel. And I see how in different ways this movement has been replicated. If you see the Self-Realization Fellowship which came, Paramahamsa Yogananda, Mahesh Yogi's movement, the Krishna Consciousness movement, many others, you will notice the pattern in which they came, first of all coming here to the West, and the way it was taught, and the organizations which were set up, the values which were followed, very similar to the model which Vivekananda established. Where? Here, in the Vedanta Society of New York. It's a bridge between the East and the West. A bridge, as Nivedita noticed, between the past and the future. Yeah. Anyway, I can go on saying, but yes, it's a historic occasion. Thank you for bringing it up. The gentleman there. Yes, please come. Tell us your name and ask the question.
Pranam Swamiji. My name is Anirudh. I've come from Maryland. So I have maybe an academic question, but I would ask anyway. So the model that I am the consciousness, only consciousness and nothing else, doesn't fit well when you think of it in the context of rebirth. When the Atma goes for the next birth, we say that the Sukshma Sharira, the subtle body, goes to the next birth, right? So in that sense, isn't a better model, I know I'm wrong, but I want to I want to hear your side of things. Isn't a better model that I am is, it has two parts. One is the universal part, which is the consciousness, and there is an individual part, which is the Sukshma Sharira. And then when I go to the next birth, then the consciousness, of course, is all pervasive, and that universal part goes to everyone, but the individuality also goes through the Sukshma Sharira. So what's wrong with that model?
Nothing. That's what you described is called Vishishtadvaita. There is one divine organic unity in this universe, and that is qualified by the individual parts of physical body, subtle body, material universe. So in Sanskrit that is called Jiva Jagat Vishishta Brahma. Brahman qualified by the individual sentient beings and the material entities making up this universe. So it's one reality, and they are all playing their own parts. What Advaita Vedanta says is, these are not parts of Brahman, they are appearances of Brahman. So in that case your question would be, but that doesn't sit well with rebirth. And then Advaita Vedanta bites the bullet and says, yes, ultimately there is no rebirth. Pure consciousness, Atman or Brahman, is neither born nor does it die. It does not go through rebirth. Then what goes through rebirth? Is there rebirth at all? Only at the level of Vyavaharika, at the level of the appearance, at the level of the movie. In the movie, a lot of activities are going on. The screen is not involved in those activities. The screen is neither a hero nor a villain. The screen is not, not the cops or the robbers or the car in the car chase or whatever is going on in the movie. And yet all of that is enabled by the presence of the screen. It's the presence of Satchidananda, existence, consciousness, bliss, which you are. Because of you, this appearance, this samsara arises. Not as a separate reality. So it does not require two parts. There's only one part, or there's no part at all, there's only one indivisible whole. If there's no part, you need not even call it a whole. It's just that, and it appears in this way. When we do not know that, the underlying reality, this appears to be real. This is what's going on. When you know that, this thing does not become a part of that, rather it becomes an appearance of that. So that's what Advaita Vedanta does. And engineers say the more moving parts you have, the more chance of breakdown. They know. Mechanical engineer. There will be friction, there will be heat, there will be slippage, there will be some problem. More, they say in Hindi, hilne dulne wala. Whatever moves and rattles around, it can break down. So if you have two parts, one pure consciousness and one separate part called a subtle body which goes around in a separate world, there's a chance of a breakdown there. It will require more maintenance. But if you have only one reality shining as this, then thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Question. We'll wrap it up with this question. Yes.
Aparajita Chakraborty asks, Dear Swamiji, Swami Vivekananda stated that fear is the root cause of suffering and misery. Fear is the one thing that hinders our spiritual growth. Fear is ingrained deep in our psychology or samskaras. We are probably carrying forward this pattern from life to life. How does one become fearless?
One becomes fearless by realizing one is the fearless. What is fearless? Nirbhayam Brahma. Brahman alone is beyond fear. That which is non-dual is beyond fear. Why non-dual is beyond fear? Dvitiyad vai bhayam bhavati. Upanishad says from the second, from the real existence of an other appears fear. Desire, but desire is the child of fear. Fear is the mother. Even desire is, there's a core of fear in there. Suppose I don't get what I desire, fear. If I get what I desire, suppose it goes away, he, she or it goes away, then fear. Fear is at the root of samsara. Where does fear come from? The real existence of another. Not just the other, the real existence of another. There is something separate from me. It can threaten me, it can tempt me, it can harass me, it can create trouble for me. It limits me. See, the problem with having an other is that it limits me. Limits me means you stop at one point where the other begins. That's why in Vedanta the infinite can only be one. If you have an infinite reality, anantam, and you say, yes, there is an infinite. In mathematics you can have multiple infinities. In Vedanta, in philosophy, if you have more than one infinity, then each one limits the earlier one. If I have an infinite reality, A, and there's only one tiny little thing beyond that A called B, then where does A stop? Where B begins? Then there is something which is not A, that is called B. Non-duality alone is free of fear. The other is the source of fear. The French existentialist Jean-Paul Sartre, hell is other people. I love humanity, it's people I can't stand. Yes. So, non-duality means there is no other. There's no other means, it's not that nobody has a right to exist except me. I will sit alone, everybody has to be destroyed somehow. No. Or I will not, I'll just shut my eyes to the whole world. No. It's not the non-perception of the other, the non-experience of the other, a Sankhyan magnificent isolation. The German philosopher Leibniz called it a monad, he said stars shining in the night sky. surrounded by darkness and forever separated from other stars. Not like that. You experience everybody and everything, all of life in all its glory and dynamism and dust and struggle and life and death, all of it, knowing every bit of it to be yourself. There is nobody else here. There is no other here from a non-dual perspective. You are this Satchidananda. Suppose you are, see, in the ocean, thousands of waves are appearing and disappearing. Each wave seems to be clashing with the other. It gives rise to spray and foam and all of that. But if you are water, then all the waves are you. Suppose you are water. Then all the waves, the entire ocean is you. Every drop is you. There is nothing else in the ocean other than you. I mean, as far as water is concerned. It is you only. If you are existence itself, what can be other than you? If there is anything other than existence, becomes non-existent. So anything that exists must be you, just like the water in the ocean. You're the one existence of the entire universe. Is it possible? Yes, not only possible. Advaita Vedanta claims it's the fact right now. We don't see it, that's why we suffer. There is no other. When you realize there is no other, there is no fear. There is no fear. This is one thing that Vivekananda stressed again and again and again. Don't be afraid, be fearless. You have nothing to fear. But we will die. Vivekananda would say, so? You will never die. Your true life is eternal. Nothing can take you away that life. That life which is your eternal is called Sat, being itself. Not given to arising or disappearing, not given to birth and death. That being you are. No, that this particular life, it may go away. It will go away anyway. He that giveth up his life for me will live forever. And he who tries to hold on to this life will die 1,000 deaths. Really, truly, we sort of hesitate. No, okay, I want to be that Brahman, but also this one. We hesitate because we are not sure. That becoming sure, that clarity is what Vedanta gives us. Then true fearlessness comes. An author was asked this question. So you want to become immortal through your works, through your books, right here in New York. And the author said, no, I want to be immortal in my Upper West Side apartment. That's what we really want. All talk of philosophy is fine, but I want to be like this and continue like this, which I know to be impossible. I was not like this 20 years ago. Surely I will not be like this 20 years. And 40 years later, I'll probably be gone by that time. And yet we want to continue. The reason, why? Why is it so difficult? Because my self-identity is this now. Everything else is a theoretical possibility. It's only when, through Vedanta, through spiritual practice, through enlightenment, it shifts. As I effortlessly identify myself with this body and mind, then also effortlessly, without any struggle, I will clearly see I am endless existence. Then there will be no fear of even death of this body. You attain to fearlessness. Non-duality leads to fearlessness. Enlightenment leads to fearlessness. When Janaka attained enlightenment, his guru told him, didn't tell him that you have become enlightened, O Janaka. He said, Abhayam vai praptosi Janaka. You have attained fearlessness. Attained fearlessness. So hold on to the fearless, you will become fearless. You realize that I am that. That's the primary advice. If that is difficult, then hold on to the fearless. The one who is fearless is God. Nirbhayam Brahma. Hold on to that. Through devotion also. I am small and weak and I am afraid. If I feel that way, then let me hold on to the one who is not small, not weak, not afraid. We will be strong in the strength of God. We will be fearless because the hand of God is on our shoulders. But genuinely, that I am the child of God. I am the servant of God. That's my real identity. Either of these will work. If I hold on to samsara, fear will be there. If I hold on to human beings, if I hold on to money, SpaceX IPO. Yes, with great wealth will come great fear also, because the fear of losing it is also there. Imagine the joy of getting $1 trillion, but imagine the fear of losing $1 trillion. Yeah. So, you hold on to samsara, all uncertain. Hold on to either God or self-realization. It's the same thing. The Atman, Brahman or God. Both are certain and both will help. To the extent, and it's not all or nothing, that's the beauty of it. To the extent, even a little bit we can hold on, that little bit we will be rescued from fear. Krishna says, Swalpam apyasya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat. Even a little practice of spirituality, of meditation, of self-knowledge, of devotion, of karma yoga, of service, even a little practice of that, Swalpam apyasya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat, saves you from great fear. Karma yoga, lead a worthwhile life of service to others. You will face death, personal disappointment, problems fearlessly. I have given my life and time and energy for the welfare of others. I do not care for what happens to this little life. Who cares? Devotion, have a great faith and love for God. It's omniscient, omnipotent, omnipresent. Bhagavan, Narayana, Sarvavyapi, everywhere. One fearless being in this universe. I have surrendered, I am the child of God. What fear do I have? Great strength enters. You chant Hanuman Chalisa, immediately you will get strength. Devotion gives you strength. Meditation, many people don't realize, fear and restless mind are connected. The more restless our mind, the more fearful. People don't realize the connection between the two. Anxiety comes from a restless mind. Still mind, no anxiety, no fear. People think it's because of the world that I have anxiety in my mind. No, it is because of anxiety that you have samsara, the world. In the peaceful mind, no samsara. What I mean thereby is not that the world will disappear, not that problems will disappear. They will become much smaller. They will become easily, I can tackle it. You will feel that I've tackled so many things in my life. This also I'll face. It could be personal illness, it could be the illness of or some kind of struggle in the family or illness of somebody else. It could be financial problem, it could be, I have faced so much in life. This also, let me see. The psychologist Bandura, who was in New York, he coined the term self-efficacy. Self-efficacy. The ability, the feeling that one is up to, can tackle most problems in life. That feeling, that we have the competence within us. Let me try. So that comes from a still mind. Meditation. I'm quoting from Hindi, actually, translating from Hindi. आप समझते हैं कि संसार के चलते मन अशांत है, लेकिन अशांत मन के चलते संसार है आपको. You think that it's because of samsara my mind is anxious, anxiety, filled with anxiety, restless. But the truth is, it's because your mind is anxious and restless that you have this terrible samsara. You feel. And then he adds the sadhu, Shant man mein bhala kaun samsar dekha hai? Who has seen samsara in a peaceful mind? In a still mind. Basically, if you take it deeper, it's a samadhi. Literally in samadhi, there is no samsara. So meditation, a life of meditation, it will take you beyond fear. And the greatest of all, self-knowledge, Atma Jnana, Jnana Yoga, which will reveal to you your fearless nature. That you have no death, no darkness, no suffering. Even in the midst of samsara, while you're struggling in life, kahin koi mrityu nahi, kahin koi jadata nahi, kahin koi dukh nahi. No death, no darkness, jadata and insentiency, and no suffering ever. From that perspective, while in the midst of this struggle, not in an ashram, not in the grave sitting, lying in the coffin, not at that time, in the midst of the struggle of life. That is the beauty of Vedanta. It takes you beyond fear, makes you fearless right here. This is a good theme to end this discussion on. We are also wrapping up our session for this year.
I just wanted to say, Swamiji, as we come to the end of this season, I think everybody will join me in saying an enormous thank you, our love and our gratitude for everything that you have given us.
All of it is that. It is that one reality shining forth. I remember a couple of years back, I was in Bangalore, in our ashram there, and a very senior Swami, he's elderly and sick now. I met him and I bowed down to him, and I remember the young monks used to look up to him when he was in charge of multiple ashrams. Whichever of our ashrams had trouble, had problems, that Swami would be sent. He would tackle it. When other monks would say, I don't want to stay here, I'm going elsewhere. And that's one easy thing you don't know about monks. We have a multiple exit routes. We started running away from life early in life. So we continue. You make it tough for us, we'll say thank you very much, I'm off. So the monk is always wandering. So it can easy to let go. But this monk did not. I'm reminded of Sister Nivedita's words. To have and hold is as stern a trust as to quit and renounce. To hold on to something and build something in spite of problems. Again and again he did it. And so I met him. He's quite old and sick now. So I was saying, Swami, you were an inspiration years ago. I know we would talk to the younger monastic novices, look at him, how he doesn't run away from challenges. He faces them, and when others are swept away, he is standing firm. He listened and he smiled. This is what I want to share. He listened and he smiled and he said, no, that was not how it was. It was all him, he said, Sri Ramakrishna. As he said, he's not Bengali, but he said it to me in Bengali. Tini jamon koriyechen, temoni koreche. As he has made me do, I have done. He didn't take even one bit of credit to himself, that I was this heroic fighter and I did this or that. Not at all. He said, when you hear it from him, it comes with the stamp of truth, of reality. Because he is speaking as somebody who has really seen this. He says, all of it was done by Sri Ramakrishna. And this is something we can take away in all our lives. At every point, there is a power working through us, wherever we are, whatever we are doing. The more we rely upon that and more we hold on to that, instead of holding on to samsara, the more fearless we'll be, the more peaceful we'll be, the more successful we'll be, the more well it will go for us. I pray to Thakur Ma Swamiji to bless all of us. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat Shri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.